Welcome to part C of lecture number 10. As we have discussed the history and we have introduced the dam structures, and also we have discussed the different parts and components and of the dam structures. Okay, now in this part we will discuss the types of dams. Okay, so being an engineer, one must be able to select the best suitable location, to select the best suitable site for the construction of any hydraulic structure. But here our main focus is dams, so one must be able to select the best site for the dam construction. And remember, the site selection is depend upon many physical factors such as topography, geological and foundation condition, available material, okay, suitable site for spillway, data about the earthquake forces, etc. So these are the different factors based on which we are selecting different types of dams. So before going into the site selection and before going to the factor defending the factor affecting the construction of dams on a specific site, first we must know about the types of the dam, that what are the different types of the dam, which type of dam we can construct. Okay, so then we can correlate with the physical condition of these sites, okay, the physical condition of the sites with the types of the dam. So then we can select the best suitable and efficient dam structure for the given area. And remember, the most important factors based on which we are selecting is the material availability. Okay, material means in terms of concrete or masonry, stone or bricks, yes, sand, steel, timber, even rubber. Okay, so based on the material, and remember the material required for the construction must be locally available and at short distances from the construction site that will be available. And secondly, we are looking into the feasibility, mean the topography, geology and climatic condition. And third one, we are looking for the cost, okay, mean the availability of the budget. And the most importantly, we are looking into the foundation requirement, that the foundation will be strong foundation, there will be no shear failure between the structure and the foundation, and there will be low hydraulic conductivity. Okay, so later on we will also discuss the different physical factors which is governing the selection of a dam type. How the site will be selected for a dam, so that will be discussed in detail later on. But here first we will have to understand the different types of the dam structures. Okay, so see, based on the different criteria, we have different types of the dams. Mean dams may be classified into different categories depending upon the purpose or basis of the classification. We have three types. Mean majorly we have three classification of the dam structure. Okay, first one is according to use, that for example, if we have a natural stream, if we have a natural waterway, and we know that the barrier which we are constructing across that river, that is called the dam structure. Now why we are constructing this structure? Okay, what is the purpose, what will be the function, what is the requirement, that why we are constructing, mean answering this question, why. Okay, so that will classify a dam in one of the major category, that either it will be storage dam, either it will be diversion dam, or it will be detention dam. Also we have another types, that either it will be we can say that depressed dam, or it will be coffer dam. Okay, so these are the classification. Remember, we will discuss one by one in detail, but just first summarize the classification. So based on the use, that for what purposes we are constructing the dam structure, so either it will be storage dam, or it will be diversion dam, or it will be detention dam. The third classification based on which we have different types of the dam structure, that is the hydraulic design. Okay, so according to the hydraulic design, the dam may be classified as to non-overflow dam and overflow dam. Briefly, if we discuss it here, see, if we have a barrier which we have constructed across a river, so see, for example, if that is the maximum water level which we have discussed in the second part of this lecture. Okay, so suppose if that is the maximum water level, now for example, if the crest level is higher than the maximum water level, then the water will never overflow on this structure. So that is called the non-overflow dams. Okay, and sometimes the spillways are constructed over the dam structure, and the extra water, the surplus water, is disposed up into the downstream area over the structure. That is called the overflow dam. Okay, and most importantly, based on the material, that from which type of material you are constructing the dam, either from concrete or masonry, stone, concrete bricks, sand, steel, timber, even rubber. Okay, so we have two types. Either the material will be rigid material or the material will be non-rigid material, mean step material. Okay, artificial material, for example concrete and masonry, steel. Okay, so then based on that, the dams are classified into gravity dam, arch dam, buttress dam, steel dam. Also we have timber dam and rubber dam. Okay, and then we have the non-rigid material, the natural available material, the non-stepped material, that is the earth material. Okay, and rock fill material. So these are also called the embankment dams. Okay, mean the one which are constructed from the natural available material. So these will be constructed where the natural material are locally available, abundantly available, easily available. Yeah, where we cannot transport the artificial material, for example the concrete and masonry, then the cost of the product, the construction will be increased. Okay, so these are based on the material. We have different types of the dam structures. Again, it will have different we can say different strength and different stability, and it will have different characteristics. Okay, based on the materials. But remember, the material required for the construction must be locally available or at short distances from the construction site. And if the material to be transported from far off distance, then hollow concrete structure is better choice to reduce the material requirement. Okay, and steel dams are not used for major work. I mean steel dams that are not used for major works. Today steel dams are just used for the temporary construction. Okay, and timber dam is not we can say that again, timber dam is not more than 30 to 40 years and must have regular maintenance. So there is limitation of each and every structure. Okay, for example, if you are constructing the dams from the concrete, okay, its stability will be high and it will have high lifetime, that will be more durable, less maintenance will be required, but the material requirement will be more, the construction cost will be more, the construction period will be more, it will require more manual and mechanical power. Okay, and for example, if you are constructing a dam from timber, okay, so okay, its cost will be less, material is locally available, no transportation cost, no too much power, duration will be less, so construction duration will be less, but maintenance cost will be required, stability will be less. So for each and every type we have limitations and we have the advantages, but we will select the dam based on the locality, based on the site. Okay, that which one is best suitable. So the design of concrete dams involve consideration of various construction material. Okay, during the investigation phase, like for example for the concrete, sand, gravel, cement, if you are constructing some part in RCC, so the steel, bars. Okay, so that will be considered. An assessment is required on the availability and suitability of the material needed to manufacture the concrete qualities. Okay, so that will meet the standard criteria. And the construction material include fine and coarse aggregate, cementitious material, water per washing aggregate, mixing aggregate, curing of concrete, and chemical admixture. Mean the availability of the water that will also be ensured. And one of the most important factors determining the quality and economy of the concrete is the selection of suitable sources of aggregate. I mean, the concrete is the currently and most used material, so that's why we are dealing with that one. And in the construction of concrete dams, it is important that the source have the capability of producing adequate quantities for the economical production of mass concrete. Okay, I mean if you are constructing a dam from the concrete, see the source of sand, the source of coarse material, the source of gravel will have adequate capacity to produce the required amount of material, and the use of large aggregate in concrete reduces the cement content. Okay, I mean that is just another thing. We are not going in detail to that material selections, but that is the requirement that the dam which you are constructing from any type of material, that must be locally available and abundantly available, and of required quantity will be available. Okay, let's discuss also we have these are the different types of the dams, that either the dam will be constructed with the concrete, but remember either it will be non-overflow dam or it will be overflow dam. Okay, for example it will be gravity non-overflow dam. Okay, mean we can mix with each other. Also see here, for example, if we have a dam which is constructed from the steel and it is non-overflow, and for example it is used as a storage dam, so we can call it steel non-overflow storage dam. Okay, mean one is the purpose, second one is the design, and third is the material. So different types of material, that is the concrete masonry, the earth fill, rock fill, and the earth fill rock fill, mean combination of both the earthen material and the rock materials. Okay, concrete faced rock fill material. And based on the capacity, that is also important, that how much water it can store. What will be the, we can say that how much water will be stored, or what will be the capacity of the reservoir. And remember, if that capacity is greater than 1 million cubic meter, then it is classified as a large dam. Okay, also we have the classification based on the height. So see, if the height of the dam is greater than 15 meter, then it is called large dam, and if it is less than 15 meter, it is small dam, and if it is greater than 50 meter, then it is called high dam. So these are the different criteria based on which we can classify the dam structures. Okay, so let's discuss one by one. The first one is based on the function of the dam. It can be classified as the storage dam. Now remember, this is the most common type of dam which is normally constructed. So storage dam is constructed to store water to its upstream side during the period of excess supply in the river. Now remember, this dam will be recommended on the non-perennial river. Okay, mean see, if we construct a barrier, if we construct a structure across a non-perennial river, so we know that in non-perennial river there is sometimes excess flow, excess supply of water is available in the river during the rainy season, and then in the off season, okay, there is no flow available in the river, so that water will be stored during the period of excess supply, and then it will be used in period of deficient supply. Okay, so beyond such a dam, see, beyond such a dam, here we are completely stopping the flow of water, so a type of reservoir or lake is formed here. The storage dams may be constructed again for various purposes. Okay, so the water will be stored and then it will be utilized in off season for irrigation, water power generation, or for water supply for domestic and industrial purposes, or it may be for a multi-purpose project. Okay, and a storage dam may be constructed of a wide variety of material. It can be constructed from stone, concrete, earth, and rock fill. Okay, so that is a dam which is constructed across the river. And see, it will store the water when the supply in the river is excess, and a type of reservoir will be formed, and see, that water will be utilized for irrigation, power, and for other purposes, and can be constructed from stone, concrete, and rock fill. Okay, then we have the divergent dam. Now again, suppose if the river is perennial, mean throughout the year some constant and regular amount of water is available in the river, so we will have no need of storing the water and controlling that water. Okay, we will just have to construct a small barrier, a small structure, just to raise the water level at the upstream side and properly divert it into the irrigation canal, properly divert it into the intake structures. Okay, so the purpose of a divergent dam is essentially different. Okay, while a storage dam stores water at its upstream for future use, and a divergent dam simply raises the water level slightly in the river and thus provide a head for carrying or diverting water into the canal or any conveyance system for any purposes. Okay, and then the water is conveyed into the point of utilization. And the divergent dam is therefore of smaller height. Remember, that is of smaller height, and no reservoir is formed behind it. Okay, no reservoir is formed to store water, and the common example of divergent dam is the weir and barrage. Okay, mean that are the main example, that they are not storing the water, they are just diverting the water. Either complete water will be diverted, remember, or some portion of water will be diverted. If the complete water is diverted, then at the downstream side there will be no water discharge, and if some portion of the water is diverted, then there will be discharge at the downstream side, and it will be overflowing and underflowing the structure. And during the flood, water passes over through these divergent dams, while during period of normal flow, the river water partly or wholly will be diverted into the conveyance system. And a diversion dam may be constructed again for irrigation or domestic or industrial purposes. Okay. And see then we have another type based on the use, that is the detention dam. So see, detention dam is constructed to store water during flood and release it gradually at a safe rate when the flood decreases. See, if we have a river, if we have a natural stream, and if there is the possibility of the flood occurrence in the river, then we are just constructing a barrier. We are just constructing an obstruction across the river. And when the flood occurred in the river, so it will control the water, it will store the water. Okay, and then when the flood recedes, when the flood decreased, then that water will be gradually released into the downstream area at a controlled manner. And see, if we have not such type of reservoir, if we have not such type of obstruction, then the flood water will be directly rushed into the downstream area and the area will be affected. Okay, so by the provision of the artificial storage during the floods, the flood damage at the downstream area will be reduced. Okay. And see, there are usually two types of the detention dams. Okay, one type is stored water. Okay, mean that is temporarily storing the water and then releasing it through a suitable outlet structure. Mean first we are storing the water and then that water is released by a controlled and regular manner into the downstream area by some outlet structure. And in the other type, in the second type of detention dam, water is not released. Okay, mean the water is kept stored in the structure, that is not released, and no outlet structure is provided. Okay, mean the water is stored in the reservoir for longer period as much as possible, and this water then seeps into the ground, into the foundation, and due to this seepage the water level in the nearby area is raised. Mean the water level in the wells, are raised. Okay, and then that water is applied for irrigation is a lift irrigation. Mean then that water is raised from the well and applied as a lift irrigation. Okay, also irrigation may be done in the river bed itself at the downstream side, but the seepage water may be sufficient for the growth of the crop and no additional surface watering may be necessary. Mean the water is not allowed to release into the downstream area, and that is kept stored in the reservoir, and and due to the seepage the water is moved into the groundwater, and then that water is utilized for the irrigation purposes. Okay, see, sometimes detention dams are constructed across tributaries which are carrying large silt and sediments. Okay, means sometimes the detention dams are constructed in the tributaries which have large amount of silts and sediments. Okay, so when that detention dam is constructed, so the water will be stored here and its velocity will be reduced and the sediments will be allowed to settle down. When the velocity is reduced, so the sediments or the silt particle will be settled down. Okay, and then the clean amount of water will be released into the downstream area. The clean amount of water will be applied into the agricultural area. So in such case, then it is known as a depressed dam, a dam which is constructed to retain the sediments particle. Okay, the water after passing over a depressed dam is relatively clear water. Okay, so it is known as a depressed dam, and it is used just to trap the sediments and thus to exclude the sediments to flow to the main reservoir. Okay, and also we have the coffer dam. Mean it is an enclosure which is constructed around the construction site to exclude the water so that the construction can be done dry. See, again, if you have a river, and for example if you are interested here to construct any types of hydraulic structure, so then we have just to construct here a temporary barrier, a temporary obstruction is constructed here, and the water is diverted from the construction site, okay, into another we can say diversion facilities, and remember that then it is redirected, then it is rediverted into its original path, into its original natural river. But see, the water is just redirected, the water is just diverted from the construction site, and here you can see that a dry environment will be created for the construction purposes. So then it is called the coffer dam. Mean any temporary structure which is constructed around the construction site, just to create a dry environment. Okay, so that is a type of temporary structure to facilitate the construction in the water body. Okay, and see, when we are constructing now, see, as we have discussed that these are the classification based on the uses. Remember, we can also construct a single structure for multi-purpose. Mean, in a multi-purpose project, the dam may also serve the purpose of storage, the purpose of the flood protection. It can create a recreation spot. The stored water may also be used for irrigation, water power generation, municipal and industrial supply, and other purposes. So it may also act as a multi-purpose dam. Okay, so these are the classification based on the uses, that for what purposes you are constructing the dam, either for storage of water, for diversion of water, for detention of flood water, or for we can say settlement of the sediments particle, or just for creating a dry environment in the water structure. Copper dam will be constructed. Okay, so these are the purposes. Okay, now based on the hydraulic design, again we will have non-overflow dam or we will have overflow dam. So the first one is the non-overflow dam. So in a non-overflow dam is the one in which the top of the dam is kept at higher elevation than the maximum expected high flood level. See, for example, if that is a river and here we are constructing a dam structure, so the top of the dam, mean the crest of the dam, is kept at higher elevation from the maximum water level or from the highest flood level. Okay, from the maximum water level or highest flood level, because beyond the highest flood level the water is discharged into the downstream area through the spillways. So see, the water will not overflowing on this structure. Okay, so water is not permitted to overtop the dam, and hence a non-overflow dam may be constructed of again different types of material, like from earth, rock fill, masonry, concrete, because we can construct it from the earthen material, from the rock fill material, because the water is not overflowing on this structure. Okay, and water will not be permitted. Okay, you can construct from the rock fill, or mean we can construct it from loose material, because if the water is not overflowing on this structure, so there will be no chances of erosion or damage of the structure. Okay, then we have the overflow dam. Again, see, when an obstruction is constructed across the river, and for example, if the top of the dam is lower than the highest flood level, so see, when the flood occurred, then the extra water beyond the maximum water storage level, that water will be overflowing on the structure. Either some specified spillways will be provided, or the water will be directly overflowing on the structure. That is called the overflow dam. So see, an overflow dam is the one which is designed to carry the surplus water over its crest, and its crest level is kept, we can say that its crest level is kept lower than the top of the other portion of the dam. Okay, see, I mean, and again, as compared to the non-overflow dam, the elevation of the crest of the overflow dam is less than the elevation of the crest of the non-overflow dam. Okay, so since water glides over its downstream pace, see, the water slides over its downstream pace, so it should be made of such a material which is not easily erodible. Okay, for example, from concrete or masonry. An overflow dam is commonly known as a spillway dam, because here you can see that in this dam these are the spillways which are provided, but see, the water is overflowing on this structure. Okay, mean some well-defined shape will be provided, but you can see that the water is overflowing on this structure. Okay, so there will be the chances of the overturning or the erosion, so strong and stable structure will be constructed. Okay, so the two types of the dams that are combined sometime, means sometime the overflow and the non-overflow dams are combined. Some portion of the dam is allowed, on some portion of the dam it is allowed to overflow the water on it. Okay, mean the main dam is kept as a non-overflow dam, constructed of rigid material, such as masonry or concrete. Okay, or can be constructed from non-rigid material, for example, earth and rock fill material. Okay, and some portion of the dam is kept as a overflow dam. Okay, at some suitable location along the dam. For example, see, if this one is the, so for example, the front view. Okay, so some portion of the dam is kept as a non-overflow dam, and that can be constructed from rigid or non-rigid material, from any types of material. And some portion of the dam, in here some spillways will be provided so that the surplus or excess water may properly dispose of into the downstream area. But remember, now that will be constructed from the rigid material, from the concrete or masonry material. Okay, so that the erosion may be reduced, and then it will be called the we can say it will be called a combined dam. Okay, so these are the we can say dam types based on the we can say that hydraulic design. Then we have the types of the dam based on the material. Okay, so see, according to the based on the material, the dam, either the dam will be rigid dam or non-rigid dam. Rigid dam means the one which are constructed from the step material, from the rigid material, for example masonry, concrete, steel or timber. And rigid dam may be furtherly then classified into, we can say that concrete gravity dam or arch dam, steel dam, timber dam, rubber dam, buttress dam. And second one, based on the material, we have the non-rigid dam, which is constructed from the we can say from the natural embankments material like earth or rock fill material. And then we have three types: earth dam, rock fill dam, or combined earth and rock fill dam. Okay, so the first type of the gravity dam, rigid dam, that is the gravity one. So again, from the name it is clear that the dam which depends on its own weight. Mean, when the stability of the dam is depend on its own weight, then it will be called the gravity dam. Okay, and remember, see, for example, if that is a river and here we construct an obstruction across the river, so obviously the water will be stored at the upstream side. Now see the water will exert some thrust on that structure. The water can exert some pressure on that structure, that is called the water pressure. Also, the pressure will be exerted by the seepage water, which is called the uplift pressure. There will be also impact of the earthquake forces. There will be also wind pressure. There will be also wave pressure. There will be also some pressure of the silt. So these are called, remember, these are called the destabilizing forces, which can affect the design, which can affect the structure, which can damage the structure, which can settle the structure, which can collapse the structure, which can overturn the structure. So these are the failures of the dam structure, and these are called the destabilizing forces, which can affect the stability of the structure. Now see, when all of these forces are resisted by the weight of the structure, mean when the weight of the structure is such that to resist all of these destabilizing forces, then it will be called the gravity dam. And a gravity dam is a massive sized dam which is constructed from concrete or masonry, and they are designed just to hold back a large volume of water. And by using concrete, the weight of the dam is actually able to resist the horizontal thrust of that water which is pushing against the structure. So this is why it is called the gravity dam, and the gravity essentially holds the dam down the ground. See, what will be the direction of that gravity force? That will be towards the foundation, that will be towards the ground. Okay, and it will be stopping water from we can say that overturning the structure. And gravity dam must rely on their own weight to hold back water. It is necessary that they are built on a solid foundation. Now that is the requirement. See, mean all the forces are resisted by the weight, and weight is acting downward, so some strong and hard foundation will be selected. Okay, the dams are heavy and massive wall like structure of concrete, so in which the whole weight acts vertically downward. So as the entire load is transmitted on the small area of foundation, so such dams are constructed where rocks are competent and stable. See, mean the whole stability is depend on this. So for this purposes also, then we can increase the base area. And remember, if that is the barrier at the upstream side, the water will be stored here, and the impact of the pressure at this point will be approximately 0. And as much as depth of the water is increasing, the effect of the pressure will be more. So that is also called the theoretical profile of the gravity dam. Okay, mean the theoretical profile of the pressure acting on the structure due to the backstored water. Okay, that is the we can say that the triangular shape. Okay, I mean that is only here we have only considered the water pressure, so the theoretical profile should be triangular section, means 0 at the top and maximum at the bottom. Okay, so the effect of the pressure at the bottom is more, so we can increase its weight. So sometime here some slanting edge is provided at the upstream side, so here you can see that the weight will be increased, the contact area of the with the foundation will be increased. Okay, and see, for empty reservoir a right angle triangle gives stability against overturning without causing the tension at the base is the weight of the dam. And remember that point of acting will be that is at 1/3, yeah, h/3, mean the point of action of that gravitational forces, mean the point of action of the weight of gravity, that is at h/3. Okay, and for any other triangle weight still acting near the upstream, but tension is created at the toe, mean mostly the tension is created at the toe point. Okay, this means that triangle must be right angle triangle, mean the pressure distribution, yeah, the theoretical profile of the pressure distribution and the gravity dam is triangular. Okay, and it's the dam which resists all the destabilizing forces which are acting on it by virtue of its own weight. And now you can see that how much height will be recommended, so can be high or low gravity dam, and that height of the gravity dam is equal to, mean that is just approximation, that is equal to f divided by gamma and 1 plus s. Okay, f is the mean that is this is the limiting height. Okay, mean if you are constructing a dam from a concrete material which has, this is the safe allowable compressive stress of the material from which you are constructing the dam. Okay, mean that is the allowable compressive stress, this is the specific weight of the water, and this one is the specific gravity of the dam material. So how much height will be recommended? Okay, and the gravity dams are which resist the horizontal thrust of the stored water by its weight, so they use their weight to hold back the water in the reservoir. So now how much height will be recommended, because if you are increasing the height, then more water will be stored and its thrust, its impact on the structure will be more. Okay, so that will be depend on the quality of the material, it will be depend on the compressive strength of the material, it will be depend on the specific gravity of the material. Okay, so a gravity dam is the one in which the external forces like water pressure, wave pressure, silt pressure, uplift pressure are resisted by the weight of the dam, and thus the forces disturbing the stability of the dam are resisted by the gravity forces. And a gravity dam may be constructed either of masonry or concrete, or masonry gravity dams are nowadays constructed. Okay, and what are the here that we have discussed. Okay, and if the height is up to 100 feet, then it is called low dam. If it is from 100 to 300 feet, then it is called medium height dam. And if it is higher than 300 feet, then it is called the we can say that it is called the high dams. Okay, now what are the advantages, mean advantages of the gravity dam? So there is no type of dam more permanent than one of the solid concrete, nor does any other type require less for maintenance. Okay, mean it is strong and it is stable as compared to the other types. As compared to the earth and rock filled dam, the gravity dams have have these advantages, that the gravity dam are relatively more strong and stable. They are particularly suited across the we can say that across any slopes and across any side slopes. Okay, and gravity dams are well adapted for use as an overflow spillway crest. Mean overflow spillways can be constructed because it has a high weight and there is less chances of the overturning. Okay, and also the material is rigid. Okay, so we can construct it as a we can say that we can construct it as a overflow dam. Okay, can be constructed with great heights, belt areas in heavy rainfalls, because there will be no chances of erosion. It has less maintenance, spillover is not sudden. Okay, mean deep set slices can be constructed, means slice way, because the material is rigid. Okay, mean in non-rigid material we cannot construct these slices and we cannot construct it as a overflow dam. Its lifetime is more, so if we divide its whole cost on the lifetime of the dam, so it is cheaper as compared to the other one. Okay, and also and what are the disadvantages? See, the disadvantages of the gravity dam is that it can be constructed on the strong rocks, as we have discussed that the whole structural design or the whole stability of the dam is only depend on its weight, and the weight is acting downward. So the gravity dams can be constructed only on sound rock foundation, hard rock foundation, and they are unsuitable on weak foundation or on permeable formation on which earth dams can be constructed. Okay, and the initial cost of the dam is high, remember. Okay, the initial cost of the gravity dam is always higher than the earthen dam, where funds are limited and where suitable materials are available for the construction in the earthen dams. Okay, mean in the earthen dam the material locally available and sufficiently available, and in gravity dam we are using the rigid material, so it may be transported. Okay, so that is initial cost is more, and also the construction period is we can say that longer, it takes a lot of time, and also some skilled labors are required, mechanized plants, mechanical power is required. Okay, and height can be increased unless provisions are made. I mean, it is very difficult to allow to increase the height of the gravity dam unless some specific provisions are not provided into the foundation. Okay, then you cannot we can say that increase the height of the dam structure. Okay, now see, whenever we are constructing any barrier, for example gravity dam, so mostly it is constructed in straight plane it is constructed. Here you can see that. Okay, now see, when this structure is constructed curved in plane like this one, when it is constructed curved in plane, now see, in straight structure the water thrust is acting perpendicularly on this structure and its impact is more. So we will have to construct the wide structure, so volume will be more, its weight will be more material will be required. And here you can see that when we construct such type of curved structure, for example this one, that is called the convexity is towards the upstream side. Mean the convexity of the structure is towards the upstream side of the, we can say upstream side of the river. Okay, so that is the arch dam which is curved in plane, and see, due to this convexity the effect of the water thrust will be transported into the abutment. Mean abutment is that contact of the structure with the natural ground, that is the abutment. Okay, so when we construct dam in such a curved shape, okay, so the effect of the water thrust will be transported into the abutment, and it will have not too much impact on the main structure. So we can keep the main structure we can construct the less weight, so less material will be required, its weight will be less, so it is suitable for the weak foundation. Okay, this is called the this is called the crest, mean the top surface of the dam, and on both side here you can see that the parapet walls, and see the transportation of that water thrust is depend on the convexity of this structure. Okay, on the curvature of this structure, and remember that will be recommended when the abutment are strong, when the sides are of strong rocks. Okay, for example, when the foundation are weak and the sides are strong, so then we cannot construct the gravity dam, because gravity dam mean all forces are acting on the foundation. So if the foundation is weak, so then we have to construct a light structure. So the light structure will be constructed by curving the structures, that is curved in plane. Okay, mean arch dam that is curved in plane and carries a major part of its water load horizontally to the abutment by that arch action. Mean mostly the horizontal loads are transported into the abutment, and this part of water load depend primarily upon the amount of curvature. Mean if you are increasing the curvature, then the transportation of loads to the abutment will be more, and the balance of the water load is transferred to the foundation by we can say by the cantilever action. Okay, and the thrust developed by the water load carried by arch action requires strong side walls. Means side wall will be strong enough to resist that forces which are transported into the abutment. Okay, see, and what are the advantages? So the arch dams are particularly adapted to the gorges where the length is small in proportion to the height. Mean when the length of the dam is small as compared to the height. Okay, and most importantly, for a given height the section of the arch dam is much lesser than the corresponding gravity dam. Mean if the both dam have same width and same length and same height, then the material required for the arch dam will be less than the material required for the gravity dam. Okay, and because of much less base weight, the problem of uplift pressure is minor. Mean is the thickness is less. The thickness is less, so the impact of the uplift pressure will be less. And in the gravity dam, we have more thickness. Okay, so the effect of the uplift pressure is also more. And what are the see disadvantages? That it required the skilled labors and some sophisticated form work will be required. The design of an arch dam is also quite specialized. Okay, and the speed of construction is slow. And also remember, it requires very high, very strong abutment of solid rocks, which is capable of resisting the arc thrust. Okay, and hence it is not suitable in the location where strong abutment are not available. And unfortunately, only few sites are suitable for this type of sites, for this type of dams. Okay. See, that is the curvature which is provided, and here you can see the most important another thing. That is the spillway. Here you can see that. Mean up to here that will be the maximum water level, that will be the highest flood level, and the extra water will be entered into the spillway, and here you can see that it will be discharged out into the downstream area. Mean here you can see that the water is not overflowing on this structure. Mean here the spillway is provided at the side, so that is partly overflow and partly non-overflow. It is completely non-overflow dam because the water is entering into the spillway here, and that is outing at this point. This is called we can say that this is called what, the cylindrical spillway. Okay, cylindrical spillway. Okay, mean that is not 211, that is 29 slide number, I think that is 29, and here I think that will be a slide number 28. Okay, what was in previous one, that is 29. Okay, this is, sorry, this is slide number 30, sorry, and this one will be slide number 31. Okay, and also the other one will be changed, that it will be approximately, that will be I think 32. Okay, buttress dam. So again, buttress dam consists of a number of buttresses. Here you can see that in the piers are provided for the support or for the strength of the structure. Okay, and the total width is divided into a number of spans. Okay, so these are called the buttresses. Mean the one which we are constructing here, the piers are the buttresses, which is dividing the space, which is dividing the width of the river which we have to be dammed, that is divided into spans. And to hold up water and retain the water between these buttresses, panels are constructed of horizontal arches. Okay, mean panels are constructed of the horizontal arches or plate slabs. Okay, so see that is holding the water. Just we are just remember that will be then recommended when the material is not locally available. Yeah, when the material we have to transport it from far up distances, is if the transportation means are not clearly available, so then we are constructing such type of structure. And here you can see it, for example, if we have two structure of the same dimension, one is the solid one and second one is the buttress one, so it will require approximately 1/3 or half of the material which is required for the solid dams, but its limitation will be its weight will be less. Okay, we can say that it will not hold the forces only by its weight. Okay, means some other means of stability will be provided, but its advantages is it can be constructed on the loose foundation because it has less weight. Okay, mean a buttress dam is less massive than the gravity dam, so hence the foundation pressure are less in the case of the buttress dam, so it can be constructed even on weak foundation on which the gravity dam cannot be supported. So see again, if the material is not locally available or if the material is expensively available, and for example second point is when the foundation is weak, then we cannot construct the gravity dam, then the buttress dam will be recommended. Okay, extension of height is possible. Okay, mean we can increase the height, but remember if the impact of the pressure of the water is more, then the palaver chances will be occur, then the dam will be failed. Okay, concrete volume used is less. Okay, and disadvantages is skilled labor is required for the proper construction. Okay, mean for the proper designing and we can say that proper shuttering and form work. Okay, so skilled labor will be required, and the greater as compared to the solid dams. This may lead to higher limit rates and so offset some of the saving due to reduction in the quantity of concrete. Mean, for example, a high number of skilled labor is required as compared to the gravity dam, so its cost will be more, but as compared to the gravity dam it required less material, so the cost will be adjusted. Okay. Most susceptible to damage, mean damage of upstream concrete face, damage of the upstream concrete surface has serious effects on buttress dams. I mean, it can be damaged because its thickness is very small as compared to the other dams. Okay. Here you can see that these are the buttresses dam, and sometimes these sloping sides are provided just to increase the stability, to increase the weight at the base. Okay, and these are constructed as a these are constructed from reinforced cements. Okay, see, almost 1/3 to half of the material is required in the buttress dam as compared to the gravity. Second one, we have the steel dam. Okay, so steel dams are constructed with the framework of steel with a thin plate. Okay, see, in Pakistan there is no dams which are constructed from the steels, and in United States there are 3 dams. One is the Ash Fork Dam, which is in Arizona and constructed in 1898. Second one is the Red Ridge Dam, that is constructed in 1905, and the one was constructed on the we can say that in Montana Lake, I think so, in 1901. And the out of these, the 2 was satisfactory, and the one was failed after some year, after 1 or 2 year, and the failure was mainly due to undermining of the foundation by leakage through or under the steel sheet. Okay, mean, see, if that is a river, so just a steel frame or steel sheet are installed in the river, and due to the underpinning, mean due to the weak foundation, due to the seepage under the structure, the one was failed. Okay, and see, these are the advantages that with the modern methods of the steel fabrication, greater speed can be achieved, mean quickly the structure will be constructed. Okay, they have been found to be cheaper than the other rigid dam as compared to the concrete and masonry structures. Okay, stresses in steel dams are more determinate, so hence section can be designed economically and with confidence. Mean, we can easily calculate and determine the stresses at different points. Okay, so its construction or its design will be it will be designed more confidently, and they have greater flexibility to resist the unequal settlement without excessive leakage, because it has less weight, so it will more resistive to the settlement, and they are not affected by the frost action. That is one of the failure of the concrete material. Okay, the frost action, so that is one of the main failure of the concreted structure. So if the dam is constructed from the steel, so it will have no frost action. Okay, easy maintenance and repair. And what is the disadvantages? They are lighter. Steel dams are lighter, hence not adaptable to absorb the shock. They are not adaptable to, cannot here you can see that here that is cannot absorb the shock. Okay, mean they are not adaptable to absorb the shock from vibration of the upstream water. Okay, life of steel dam is shorter as compared to the concrete dam, and steel dam require greater and more constant maintenance. They have to be we can say that there is considerably bearing stresses and other type of stresses will be considered, and there is failure on this and that types. Okay, then another one, we have the timber dam. Timber dam will be constructed of the framework of timber, mean the beams and the struts will be constructed from the timber. Okay, but remember, the timber dam is an ideal temporary dam, and it will be, we can say, constructed in those areas where the timber is abundantly available. Okay, and mostly its lifetime is from 30 to 40 years, and they are only suitable in places where timbers can be available in plenty. Okay, timber dam are normally found to be mean there are 3 types of the timber dam. We are not going into detail that one. One is the A-frame and rock-filled and beaver types. okay, but just that are constructed from the timber. Mean just we have to construct a barrier or an obstruction across the river just to store and raise the water level at the upstream side. So see, it will have low initial cost, it will be suitable for any foundation because it has less mass, it less weight, okay. So it will be constructed as a temporary structure, okay, and it will have speedy construction, mean can be constructed with greater speed. And the disadvantages is its maintenance cost is more, mean the failure chances will be more, okay, and also its life is shorter, suitable only for small heights because we cannot keep too much height of such dams, and there will be greater seepage, there will be greater losses through the body of the dams. Here you can see that, mean that is not a type of power impervious material, so the seepage losses will be more, okay. Next one we have the rubber dam. See, as we have just to store the water, we have just to control the flow in the natural river, yeah, we have just to obstruct it. So if a barrier is constructed from a rubber type of material, then it is called the rubber dam. See, we have just a rubber tube, and we can say that it will be either completely filled with water or concrete, or will be filled up with the pressurized air so that the water is obstructed, okay. A symbol of sophistication and simple and efficient design. This most recent types of dam use huge cylindrical shells which is made of special synthetic rubber, and that will be filled by compressed air or by water, okay, and it will form a type of obstruction. Rubber dams offer ease of construction and operation, okay. So these are the types of the dams based on the material, mean the gravity one, the arch dam, the buttress dam, the steel dam, timber dam, and the rubber dam. Now we have the non-rigid material, okay, mean the material which are naturally available, yeah, which are, we can say that locally available, yeah, the material which are, yeah, the dam which are constructed from the non-rigid material. For example, earth material. Earth mean clay type material, rock fill material, okay, yeah, the combination of both. So see, the earth dams are made of locally available soils and gravels, and therefore are most common types of dam used under moderate heights, okay, mean from locally available material such type of dams are constructed, and their construction involves utilization of material in the natural state, and they requiring no processing, okay, mean no mechanical means will be adopted to change the characteristic of the material, mean just the material in local condition or natural condition can be adopted for the construction, okay. So with the advancing knowledge of soil mechanics and with the more sophisticated earth equipments, earth dams are now becoming more common, okay, and even for higher heights the foundation requirement of earth dam are less as compared to the other types, okay. And see, these types are nothing, just see, for example, if that is a river, so just we are making a layer of the natural clay soil, we are properly compacting it, then we are making another layer, okay, and it will be properly compacted, then we are making another layer, okay. So see, progressively the width of the layer will be decreased. So here you can see that, suppose that is the top of the dam, so see, a type of trapezoidal section is formed. Now that is the theoretical, that is the profile of the earthen dam, mean they are mostly, sometimes they are in the trapezoidal shape, okay. Just we have one layer, then we have another layer, then we have another layer, each and every layer will be properly compacted by means of modern machineries, okay. And then we have the rock fill dam. So the rock fill dam is again, that is an embankment which uses variable size of rocks to provide stability and an impervious membrane to provide water tightness, okay. See, just we are constructing a barrier by rocks, compacting by rocks different sizes, and then we are providing an impervious membrane, mean an impervious layer either from we can say from clay material or from limestone, that is applied just to provide the water tightness. In modern practices, the rock fill dam has 4 parts, okay. One is the dumped rock fill at the downstream side, mean the dumped, here you can see that the dumped rock fill, okay, mean at the downstream side, here we have the dump, mean just we have 4 parts, the downstream parts, and see here we have the downstream parts which is constructed from there, like here we have the water cushion just to dissipate the energy, okay, and the upstream impervious space, this one, a type of impervious membrane is provided. Okay, and upstream cut-up object under the seepage. Mean here we have a type of cut-up is provided to prevent the seepage. Mean one is the main dead body, one is the cushion, one is the upstream face, and one is this one. Okay, rock-filled dams has rocks filled at the downstream impervious membrane, upstream cut-up to. Mean these are the four parts of the dams, and just from the name it is clear that it is just constructed from the rock-filled material. Okay, and the advantages is that the earth dam can be constructed almost on any type of available foundation. Okay, is if you are placing the if you are constructing different layers, so then you are properly compacting it. Okay, so such dams can be constructed in any types of foundation, because with respect to the with respect to the compaction, the foundation will be also compacted. Okay, rock-filled dams has some restriction on the quality of foundation because they are much less rigid. Okay, and see, earth dams can be possible in any foundation. Okay, they can be constructed rapidly with relatively unskilled labor. Okay, mean easy construction, rapid construction, unskilled labor will be required. Just material is required. Just if material is available on the spot, so we have just place it in layers and we have to compact it. Okay, and they are generally cheaper than other types of dam, and they can be we can say that height can be raised. Okay, just by subsequently different construction of different layers. Okay, and what are the disadvantages? They are more open to damage by floods and fail suddenly without sufficient warning. Remember, in concrete dams, okay, when just cracks occurred, then we can understand it, and there is some sufficient time to evacuate the reservoir and or properly maintain it or repair it. Mean there is sufficient time between the appearance of palaver and occurrence of palaver. Okay, and remember the earthen dam or the rock-filled dam, its palaver is occur suddenly. Okay, so they are easily damaged also by the flood water. They cannot be used as a overflow dam, because if they are just constructed from the earthen and natural material, and if you are using it as a overflow dam, so if the water is overflowing on the structure, so it can wash out the surface material, it can erode the surface material. Okay, so some separate spillways will be provided at some distance from the structure. Okay, and they are not suitable at location of heavy rainfall, because again, due to the heavy rainfall, or we can say that intense rainfall, the particles can be eroded and the structure can be affected. Okay, maintenance cost is also high. Clear? Now we have the types of the dam based on the size. Okay, so according to the International Commission on Large Dam, if a dam satisfies these characteristics, so it will be in their category, it will be considered as a large dam. See, if the dam height is greater than 15 meter, if the dam is matches the following criteria, I mean if the dam height is this one, yes, simply we can say that if the dam height is greater than 15 meter, it will be considered as a large dam. Or if the dam height is from 10 to 15 meter, but if the length of the crest, mean this along the river, if this length of the crest is greater than 500 meter, then it will be called large dam. Or if the water which is stored in the reservoir that is greater than 1 million cubic meter, again it will be considered as a large dam. Okay, and if suppose if we have a flood of 2000 cubic meter per second, and if that water is controlled by a reservoir, then it will be also considered as a large dam. Yeah, for example, if there is some difficulties in the construction of foundation, yeah, some modification is required in the foundation, so if a dam satisfy all of these conditions or any one of these conditions, it will be called as a large dam. If it does not satisfy these conditions, then it will be called as a small dam. Okay, also based on the height, if the dam mean these are different criteria, different organization based on which they are classifying the dams. So if the height of the dam is more than 100 meter, it will be considered as a high dam. Okay, if it is from 50 to 100, it will be medium dam. If it is less than 50, it will be considered as a low dam. Okay, so Also the last one, that is one of the natural dams. See, for example, if we have a natural river, if we have a natural waterway, if we have a natural stream, and for example due to some natural disaster condition, due to some geological condition, due to earthquake condition, for example, if landslides occur in the path of the water, okay, so see here, that is a type of we can say landslide. So a type of natural dams will be formed. Okay, mean dams can also be created by natural geological forces, mean due to natural disaster, for example earthquake and landslide frequently create landslide dams in the mountainous region. So then it is called the natural dams, and again sometimes it poses some hazards on the human settlement and the infrastructure. Okay, because it is a natural type dams, and it is not properly designed, so the palaver chances or the damage chances of the this structure will be more, this natural structure will be more. So if accidentally this things is collapsed or damaged, so the whole dammed water will be come into the downstream area, and the locality or the downstream area may be badly affected. Okay, so this was all about the different types of the dam structure. Okay, so in this lecture number 10, again first we have discussed the history of the dams, then we have discussed the introduced the dam structure, we have discussed the different parts of the dam, and in this third part of the lecture we have discussed different types of the dam based on the use, based on the design, based on the construction material, and based on the height and storage capacity. Okay, thank you.